Hi everybody, I'm Cassandra from Crafty After, and welcome to another video. Now you guys, this week has just been full of crafting randomness. I've gone through another phase where I get somewhat bored every now and again, and once the boredom hits, I try some different crafty things, and I will get to that later in the video. But let me start off with what I have been busy with the last week or so. It's completely random, so grab yourself a coffee, a tea, a drink, a project, sit back and let's just chat about all things crafting. The first thing I have to show you is I completed this little bear. Now, I did mention him in a previous video that I was busy making a bear. You would have seen a similar type of bear from me a few videos ago. This is basically my Binky bunny pattern that I just changed into a bear by adding different ears, a muzzle and a little tail. For this guy, I did make his pants a little shorter. I did give him short sleeves just to give him more of a spring vibe. So he's definitely into the warmer weather. He doesn't need a beanie or long pants or a scarf. He's sort of pottering about the garden a bit, ready for spring, getting, planting some flowers. I don't know what you do in spring. I'm not really a gardener, to be honest. At the moment, we live in an apartment, so we don't actually have a garden. Back in South Africa, we did have a fairly nice big garden, but I am not a gardener. I have zero interest in gardening. I love plants, don't get me wrong. I love plants, I love seeing it, I love having a garden. I just don't like gardening. So I don't know what he's busy with. Maybe he's just walking in a random garden with his little random short overall pants. I don't know. But he was cute. I really enjoy this this base pattern of mine, and I think it came from when Julie, my friend Julie at Kay's mom crochets, when she sort of mentioned the bunny is a good base for a doll. I did convert it into a doll in a previous video, but it converts into a bear. I mean, I'm sure you can convert that base body into just about anything. So it's fun to experiment, and this is such an easy and a quick pattern. So this was the first thing that I finished up. Next, as every week, I take part in my friend Jenny over at In My Spare Time Crochet. She has the hashtag Year of Granny Squares Gal. You guys know every couple of weeks I show you the squares that I've done, but this previous week we did this square. I think it's called Monarch. I think so. Not my favorite, and it's purely because I'm not a massive fan of bobbles, puff stitches, popcorn stitches, that type of thing, which is a strange thing for me to say once you see my next project. But anyway, back to this one. I'm enjoying this crochet along. I like doing the different techniques. For my squares, I use Rainbow Cotton 8/4, which is a fingering weight yarn, and a 2.5mm hook. Now, I do know what I want to do with these squares, and once we have completed all 52 squares, I will show you guys the project that I have in mind for it. Now, on squares, and why it is so funny that I mentioned, and I've mentioned in many videos on my channel, that I don't like puff stitches, popcorns, or bobbles, but I decided in this, how can I put this, in this past few weeks or months or even a year, I don't know how long it's been, I have this terrible pattern indecision. So I don't feel like searching for a pattern to make. Even if I do find a pattern that's cute, I'm not in the mood to like really read patterns. I don't know what it is. I think I'm hitting some sort of, not hitting it, I'm like full on, I think, in a midlife crisis. I mention it almost in every video these days because I do things that are completely out of the normal for me. And again, further in this video, you will see what I'm talking about. But anyway, I decided that I wanted to have a project on the go or in a bag, not something that's really time sensitive, not something I want to rush at, but a project that I can work on if I don't really feel like reading a pattern, but I want to be crocheting something. And I thought about doing squares, and I really like these, you know, the squares that we've been doing for the Granny Square scale, but I don't want a project that's got hundreds of different types of squares in it, because that would require reading a pattern for every different square. Anyway, a long story, I'm going to show you the square that I've made, and it's this sunburst. I think it's called the sunburst or the starburst. I never know which one. It's some or other. I think it's this starburst. I don't know. I will link the tutorial of the pattern, because I did watch a tutorial to do my first square. Once you do the first square, I mean, it's really easy. So I've been doing a bunch of these squares. I'll show you a few colors, and I'm doing it with my Red Heart retro stripes. Now, the retro stripes I'm using has been sent to me in various different happy mail. So I got a skein from my friend Jana Kay over at Flourish. I think it's now Flourish Crochet. Then I got some skeins, almost 2 years now, from my friend Kelly. And I got a skein from my friend Carlotta. I can't remember if someone else also sent me, but those are the three that I remember sending me the retro stripes. And I've been sort of hoarding it because I want to make something nice with that yarn. And I might have to buy some. I've seen that I can get it on Amazon Germany, where I normally order from. But I really wanted to make like a nice one project using the retro stripes. And obviously the thing that came to my mind was a blanket. So I'm making just randomly a bunch of squares. I've made about 15 during the past week. So I've got, but I mean, you all know what the retro stripes look like. I really like how it just works up completely randomly, the colors. So it looks like you are doing a very fancy color change, when in fact you're using this lovely yarn. You guys will know I absolutely love the retro stripes. I love the colors. I love how it changes. It is just a beautiful looking yarn for me. The other thing that made me decide to do a blanket is I've got a bunch of this grey acrylic. It is also a 4-weight, very similar thickness to the retro stripes. It's actually called, I think it is Malaga. I got it from Hobby a couple of years ago. I've got a few different shades of the grey. So my border will be in a dark grey, and then a medium and a lighter grey. And I think that will sort of look nice to have this gradient of grey with all of these beautiful, like, different types of colors throughout the blanket. So I'm just going to continue and see how many I can make with the skeins I've currently got. As I say, I might need to buy more. I don't think it's going to be a really big blanket if I only use the 4 skeins I've got with this grey. But I will see how far I get with it. But this is just my little stack that I've been working on this week. On these, I use a 4mm crochet hook. So I don't know how big they are, but I'm just going to continue making them until my yarn runs out, because I don't think Hobby stocks the Malaga acrylic anymore. I'm sure you can get, I'm sure I can get something very similar, but I want to use what I've got. And I think, you know, this will be sort of a nice way of using a gift that I received from some of my lovely subscriber friends on YouTube. I think it will just be a really, really nice keepsake to use a yarn that I absolutely love. The next thing I made, and this is actually might be my favorite make of the week. I wanted to do a bag. I've mentioned like a couple of months ago that I wanted to do like a crochet bag. I showed you a couple of examples of really nice crocheted bags. The Miu Miu bag, for instance, that was very popular, I think, last year. But I was really in the mood to make some sort of a handbag, and I did not know what to make. I didn't want to do a very serious bag. I wanted to do something fun with a lot of colors. And then I saw two different channels making the same bag. The one was Terry from Yarn Joy podcast. She's making this color work bag but she's doing it random, like random colors. And I saw another video. It wasn't from anyone I'm subscribed to. It sort of came up on my feed. She was doing also a scrap yarn project, and she used the exact same pattern. Now, this is a free pattern. I will pop a photo of the graph on the screen. So I did print out this graph. I decided on my colors. I was not going to do it completely random. I wanted to do it in sort of a rainbow gradient. And I started it, and I just didn't like it. I did the first very bottom color change, and I just did not like the look of it. So I pulled back. I made a base, and I will show you the base I made. So the pattern does actually have a base, but she does it in a very strange way. It sort of makes a longer part in the middle, and it tapers off to the side. I started it, didn't like it. So I sort of reworked the base to have the same number of stitches around. So her bag has got 100 stitches around. I thought, well, I'm going to keep it to 100, but what I did in the end is I chained 41, then worked back into the chain to have 40 stitches for 10 rows. That also gave me, if I worked around that base, 100 stitches. But as I said, once I started the pattern, I knew I was not going to continue with it. So I had to rethink what I wanted to do, and I thought, you know what, I'm anyway not in the mood to read a pattern. Let me just use the yarns that I've now sort of gathered. So I got all my yarns out. I got them in like rainbow shades. I've got pinks. Instead of like a bright red, I used pinks, orange, yellow, green, purple, and blue. And in each of those colors, I had 2 or 3 different shades. So I knew I was going to alternate the shades. But let me show you the bag first, and I will explain how I got the effect I did. So this is my rainbow gradient bag. Now I will explain all about this process that I followed. So this is my base where I did 40 stitches and 10 rows. Now I did double strand. So I used my very, very favorite Rainbow Cotton 86. That is the yarn that I've got the most colors in. So the 86 is a sport weight, a yarn weight 2. And I used a 5mm hook in the double stranding. So this was my base. Then I just started working around it. And what I did to create this gradient is I started with, for the pink and the orange and the green, I had 3 different shades. For the yellow, the blue, and the purple, I only had 2 shades. But I started with the lightest, the light pink and the medium pink. And I did now this is not even just one type of stitch. I alternated between double crochets, single crochets, and half doubles, and not in a specific order, just as I felt like it. And then at some stages, instead of just doing it in the round, now I did slip stitch and chain at the end. Where was it? So I had my join here on the side, which thankfully with this type of yarn you can't really see the join, but I did the join on the side of the bag so that it's not as noticeable. But I gradually moved to different colors by swapping one strand of color at a time. So I would start with the lightest pink and the medium pink. Then I did a round or 2 or 1.5 rounds. Then I dropped the lightest pink and I picked up the darkest pink. Then I would do a few rounds with that. Then as I would move into the orange, you can't really see it here, but then I would drop another strand of the pink. So I would in the end have 1 pink, and then I would pick up 1 of the oranges. Then I do a few rounds, as I say, just completely random, as I felt like it. Double crochets, single crochets, half doubles. I would, what I tried to explain earlier, but then I completely lost my train of thought. Instead of just going in the round, I would also chain and work sort of as you would do in a row. So chain up and then turn your work and work the other way around so that some of the stitches appear with the wrong side on the outside. And it creates, I wonder if I can see it, it actually creates a really nice texture. So, for instance, this orange row just here, that's actually the back side of a double crochet. And then I've got some normal double crochets above it. So it just has a slightly different texture when you see the outside or the wrong side of the stitch. So that is just what I did all the way up. So every couple of rows, I would just drop one of the strands of yarn, swap to the next strand. So here you can see, for instance, so gradually the pink moves into the oranges into the yellow. Here you can see it nice and clear. We had one strand of yellow and one strand of green, and then the green moving into the blue and the blue ending with the purple. So that is what I did. Nothing complicated about it. I just went until I felt, well, that looked like a nice sort of size for a bag, and then I ended off. Now, at first I didn't know what I was going to do with the inside of the bag, but I did know I was going to attach these straps. And these straps I got in a previous Crochet Society subscription box. So I've had this now for several months, didn't know what I was going to do with it. It looks beautiful on this bag. So you've got these little rivets with the handles in that specific box. But I mean, you can get these straps on Amazon for very, very cheap. I mean, you can get them in a craft shop as well, I'm sure. They are not expensive straps. So I really liked how the straps looked on my rainbow bag. Now for the inside, as I said, I knew I wanted to line it so that I probably won't use it as a handbag. The straps are a little short. I like wearing my bags as a crossbody, but I could use it easily as some other project bag. But I didn't know, was I going to sew a lining specifically for it? I really didn't want to. I wanted something that could close, and although I can sew zippers, I really was not in the mood for it. And then, strangely, I remembered that a couple of weeks back on a trip to IKEA, I bought these bags. I actually found them in the bathroom section. I think they're like a toiletry bag of some sort. They've got a lining, they've got pockets, they've got a zip. And the reason I bought them, they're really good size for like smaller projects. So I bought 2 of them that I wanted to use for projects later on. And they were so cheap. Really affordable. They were 25 kroner, which I pay here in Denmark. About, well, it's less than $4 or less than £3. It was really, really affordable. And I'm sure at different type of places you can get these bags for even cheaper than that. So I thought I didn't have this bag in mind when I made this one. But when I finished it, I thought, I've got those bags. Let me see if they perhaps fit. And it fit perfectly. Now, like I say, this is not based on any pattern. The only thing that's definite is that there's 100 stitches around. But I mean, you can make any bag as big or as small as you want, depending on sort of the type of bag you've got. I should have thought of the inside of the bag actually before. But all I did was I pushed this little bag inside, and I took some needle and sewing thread, and I just attached it I sewed it right there to my bag. Didn't take long at all to do, and now I've got a very sturdy lined bag with pockets in it and a zipper closure. I do think the only thing this bag needs is some or other cute bag charm. I think I should make or buy some or other bag charm. I think it's really cute. I love how this bag turned out. I love the look of it. I like the gradient. I like the colors I used. I like how it fades sort of one into the other. I like the size, and I love that I could use this cheap little bag as a lining for a crochet bag. So that is the one thing that I really, really loved that I completed this week. So you guys, I mean, if you are ever bored or you don't know what to do, just crochet a random bag. I mean, I'm sure many of you do this already. And just, I don't know, it was so much fun. And to have something functional at the end that actually, I mean, I did a few rows every evening, like as I was watching YouTube videos or Netflix or something. And it didn't take a lot of brain power. It was really relaxing because I didn't have to worry about a specific pattern. I mean, I didn't even work in the ends as I color changed. When I did a color change, I would just crochet, you know, over those ends at every row. So right at the end, the only thing I had to work in was my very two, as I finished off or fastened off. I sewed those ends in. But apart from that, I mean, you don't even have to sew them in because they're on the inside of this, and who's going to know? Am I right? Okay. So that was another project. I loved it. I loved working on it. Next, I really wanted to buy one of Jeanette over at Crafty Creations. She makes the most beautiful sewn bags, and she has this, I don't know if she calls it a knitter's companion or crafter's companion, some or other bag that you put a book in. It's got a little tag on the end. She puts these nice little dangly things on it, but sadly she does not ship to the EU, and I really wanted to buy like a book bag, a book type of bag, a book cover, I don't know what you call it. I can make them, yes, sure, and I will get to something I made a bit later. But I really wanted to buy a book bag. So I thought, okay, let me have a look at Etsy shops within the EU. So I live in Denmark. For those of you who may not know, I live in Denmark. So I thought, let me have a look at some of the shops on Etsy that has shipping. A lot of them actually have got worldwide shipping, but specifically in the EU, it's easy. The shipping is normally fairly low. There's not a lot of taxes. There's not a lot of import cost. Well, there's actually no import cost if it comes from the EU or within Europe. And I wanted really badly to buy a project bag. So I did actually order two things. One of them has arrived, and I will show you that one. I loved it. When I opened it, I was so glad that it was one of the things I chose. And this was, I'm going to show you, this was the shop that I bought it from. She is based in Turkey. She sent me a really nice message as the bag was delivered. And then this little card with my name and a little message. I thought it was really cute. And this is the project bag. Now, I loved this fabric, and I will show you now the inside. And this is currently housing my newest crafting obsession, and I will show you this as well. But anyway, this cute, it's actually a book bag, so I will show you what it looks like on the inside. So it's got these cute clips. As I say, it's got this fantastic, beautiful fabric. She's got a lot of fabrics to choose from on her website or on her Etsy store. I will link her Etsy store down below. Now let me just take all of my crafty stuff out here. So it opens up just like this, and it's got one bigger pocket where you can put like your book or whatever on this side, and then it's got, let me just take this out. It's got another pocket on this side, but also a little zip where you can add some more things. And now there's like more of my stuff that's in here. So in here, currently I've got some pens, like one pen, pencils. This will give you a sneak peek as to what I'm currently doing. It is watercolor or paint brushes. Yes, friends, part of my current phase of my midlife crisis is I really wanted to learn to do watercolor painting. And I think a few weeks ago, might even be a few months ago, my friend Pamela over at Ginger Cat Crochet, she started this segment on her channel called hashtag try something new, start something new. I can't exactly remember what it was, but doing different crafts that you have not done before. And for some reason, it got stuck in my mind that I really, really, really wanted to learn watercolor painting. Now, this is not going to become a career for me. Like, I wanted something that is relaxing. I wanted to see, can I learn? How long actually will it take me to learn to do a decent job at watercolor painting? And I found out, you guys, watercolor painting is difficult. It's very difficult, and I will show you my few first attempts. So I bought a teeny tiny little watercolor set. Like, I'm not going to spend thousands on watercolors if I don't even know if I'm going to like it. So it's a teeny tiny little set. It is like a nice brand because I watched loads of YouTube videos to see what they recommended. This was recommended as a fairly good brand. So actually Winsor & Newton is like a professional brand, but the Cotman is the student version brand of paints. So it's a good quality paint, but not like professional level. So this, like I say, I wasn't going to spend an arm and a leg on getting supplies if I don't know if I'm even going to enjoy it. But I've been loving it, you guys. And I thought, being somewhat creative, I thought watercolor painting would be easy. So I watched loads of YouTube videos. I thought, okay, once my paints in my little book, I just bought a teeny tiny little watercolor journal. I thought, I don't want to paint massive paintings. I don't even want to paint on A4 paper. It's too big. I want small, little, manageable chunks of watercolor to do every day, because I want to do something every day to see how much can I improve on a craft if I do it every day for a month. So this is my challenge that I'm currently busy with, my 1 month watercolor challenge, and I've been loving it. So I watched a few videos, had to decide what I want to start with. So I saw this very nice tutorial for a 2 koi fish within a pond. I thought, oh, how difficult can that be? That's like a bunch of blues and 2 little like long shapes for the fish, and it was it was so difficult. I couldn't believe it was this difficult. So let me show you my first few days of watercolor painting. All right, so this is what I started with. Now, am I going to win any awards for this? No. But this taught me a very good lesson in that I should have started even smaller, and I should have learned, well, this is the process of learning. I have to learn how to manage water, because like this is the whole mystery behind watercolor painting, is managing the amount of water. So I thought, okay, after this poor first attempt, which I'm sure if you ask some random person, they'll be able to say it looks like fish in water, but my colors didn't blend. I didn't understand what I did wrong. Watched a few more videos, and then I saw, oh, okay, I've actually got to use more water if I want this nice blendy effect. So I thought, okay, for my second one, I'm going to try little birds, just do smaller colors and see how they blend together. So I did this, and I actually really like this little bird. I thought the colors mixed really nicely. Then I did something similar for this one. And at this point, actually, once I did the birds, I started to really enjoy it, because I decided I'm not going to take myself too seriously. I'm never going to be like an artist that's going to exhibit in some other gallery. This is for relaxation, when I don't want to like crochet or be on the computer or do anything else. I just want to do something quick and creative. And I really like seeing how colors blend, how colors work together. It has just been, I've just been loving it, you guys. This was yesterday, I did some rainbow, but then it blended really nicely, and then all of a sudden I've got this weird blotch in the middle. So still I need to learn like managing my water, but this was okay. And this tree as well, everything worked well. And then I have this big blotch of green in my yellow, so it annoyed me a bit, but I'm not that much of a perfectionist that it is going to keep me awake at night. So today, which is Sunday, where are we now, 27th of April, I don't know what I'm going to paint today yet. So I've got to decide on my little painting for today, but this is it. This is my try something new. And I've just really been enjoying it. So let me just put all of this back. And as I say, actually, I didn't specifically buy this really nice bag of mine, this one, to put my watercolor stuff in. But it is so, I love this fabric so much. So even though, I mean, it's got a little bit of Paris, it looks like it's got something of, maybe this is also, but the Netherlands has got a lot of things that looks like this. I mean, in Denmark, there's so many people cycling, so maybe this is very much a European type of fabric. I don't know. I loved it. I loved this. It's so nicely made. So I will link the shop of this lady down below. Really cannot wait also for my second bag, my second project bag to come. It's also sort of a book bag shape. I will show you that as soon as that arrives. The very last thing that I want to show you, I was scrolling Instagram and I saw, now if you guys follow Little Drops of Wonderful, Ali, every year she hosts this dodgy bag make along. And I've never taken part, even though I've made some bags, and many of my bags that I've made have been very dodgy. But on, I think it's Crochet Luna, I think she's doing the dodgy bag Mel. I think it's the two of them. So it's Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful and then Crochet Luna. They do the dodgy bag Mel. And on Crochet Luna's Instagram yesterday, I saw her mentioning the dodgy bag Mel, and I thought this year I'm definitely going to make some bags because I'm not a serious sewer. I've got a sewing machine that I just take out every now and again when the urge like takes me to sew something. I make one thing normally because it takes so long to cut fabric and you've got to iron it and this and that, and so normally once I've done one bag, I've now got my fix of sewing for like the next 6 months. But anyway, when I saw the post for the dodgy bag Mel, I thought, you know what? I had actually cut fabric last year in November because I wanted to make some drawstring bags for Christmas. Like I wanted to use it as Christmas, like to put Christmas gifts in, like little parcels for the teachers or for colleagues, or I can't remember what I wanted to do with it. I cut out 2 bags, but by the time I cut it, I wasn't in the mood anymore to sew. So yesterday, after I saw this post for the dodgy bag Mel, I thought, let me take out my sewing machine and work on, the fabric's cut already, I must just sew it. Then my poor sewing machine that hasn't been touched in like a year, she was being a little difficult. It took me ages again to fix my tension, and then after I'd started sewing already, I saw that I had the wrong yarn, the wrong thread. I had my super thick thread in the machine instead of just a regular thread. It was a thing. So it took me ages and ages to complete this one bag. So you can see it's my Christmas fabric that I got from my lovely friend Caroline from For the Love of Crochet. So I made this little drawstring bag. Like I say, it took me much longer than it was supposed to because of my machine giving me all sorts of hassles, but she is now sorted out. She's good to go. Once I got all of the tension and the yarn, I keep on wanting to say yarn, all of the thread catching, because I've got a Benina machine, so it's a fairly nice machine, but you have to keep hold of the thread for the first few stitches, because that machine eats thread and then it just messes up your bobbin. It is just and this is what took me so long to sort out. But anyway, got it sorted out, and it's a nice little padded, I didn't do obviously a massive amount of quilting on it, but it is a nice puffy sort of a bag. I've got some batting on the inside, like a nice little polka dot red lining to go with this Christmas feel. So I've got now one Christmas bag done. So I've still got one bag that is cut, but for the dodgy bag Mal, I actually want to use some of the fabric that Caroline sent me last year. She sent me some bear fabric, some smaller pieces of bear. So it's a few different types with, you know, different types of bears on it. So I want to make a bear bag for the dodgy bag Mel. Now I will link Crochet Luna, if you're on Instagram, I will link the Instagram. I actually think she has a YouTube as well, and so I will link everything, patterns, if I use the pattern, which is not a lot. I will link the details in my description box below, as well as the shop where I bought this lovely, and it wasn't actually a bad price. I was really surprised. It was also discounted, so both of the bags I bought was for like a time period on discount, plus because it was within Europe. This one came from Turkey. I think my other one is coming from Lithuania or somewhere. The shipping was really, really affordable. So I will link this down below as well. But there you have it. A lot of different types of things that I did this week. Painting, sewing, crochet, making bags, making squares, making bears. It's just been all over the place this week. All right, you guys, I've now kept you busy for long enough. This has been a very, very long chat this week, but there was just so many random things I had to share with you and chat to you about. But that is it for this week. Let me know what you guys are busy with. Let me know if you also get these times where you desperately you want to be creative, you want to try something different, and what is it that you would like to try? Like I say, painting is not everyone's thing, and it's actually more difficult than I thought. But I know a lot of people, you know, you like cross stitch and embroidery and sewing and drawing, painting, sculpting, making polymer clay things. Let me know, what is that thing that you always thought, you would like to give it a go? Something to do in between our main love of fiber art. So my main love will always be crochet, but in between I do like sort of trying out different things as well. All right, you guys, that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this completely like array of randomness. As always, I love chatting to you guys. I love reading your comments. Please chat to me in the comments down below. I love hearing what you guys are up to. And I love hanging out with you guys every week. You know this. I say this every single week. You guys are fantastic. All right, friends. That's it for this week. Until I see you in the next video. As always, you guys, stay safe and stay crafty.